all. Welcome to episode 10 of Author Interaction. I am Chitwan Sharma, Secretary General at the Russell of Book Club, and I study in class 10th at Ryan International School, Faridabad. Russell of Book Club is the brainchild of Rahul Suri, an 18-year-old student at Shiv Nadar School. His initiative has allowed for the integration of people from various walks of life who have one thing in common: their passion for reading. Books reach the mind and the heart, allow for empathy and sensitivity, allows for connection. In today's uncertainty, the narration of stories also allows us to build resilience and feel less alone in the obstacles we face. I had like to welcome today's guest, Mrs. Sharmishta Shenoy. So let me introduce her. Mrs. Shenoy is the author of Vikram Rana mystery series. The books under the series are Vikram Rana Investigates, A Season for Dying, Behind the Seas, Fatal Fallout, and Silent Witness. She has also published a book of short stories, Quirky Tales. Her latest work is Murder in the Chaudhary Palace, that has been published by Vishwakarma Publications. Though she's happily married to Mr. Shenoy in real life, in a fantasy world, she is wedded to her creation Vikram Rana. Hello, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much for taking time out to join us today. I'll now be starting off with the questions. If you are ready, ma'am.
Sure. Please go ahead.
I am sure the transition from a parent into a writer would have come along with many roadblocks. How did you combat all the hurdles? What inspires you to continue juggling between these two professionals?
Okay. So actually, I was a IT professional before starting to write, and what had happened was I had taken a break from my work due to my father's death and all that. At that time, I was bored at home, and my son actually loves me to tell him stories while he's eating. So just for him, I used to start write stories, and he used to love. CID was his favorite program. So I wanted. I knew what kind of stories he likes. So I tried to build stories around that model, that is those thrillers and murder mysteries and all that. And that's the way I initially started. I wrote my first story, Vikram Rana Investigates, just for him. It was not meant for publishing. And after that, what had happened was he liked it so much. He said, "Mother, why don't you try to publish it?" Uh, you know. Then I said, who will read this nonsense story, and who will buy my books? It is not very good. But he said, yeah, okay, why don't you try getting edited and then try to get it published? So that's how I had, and then I had actually learned about something called KDP, where you could self-publish. Actually, I had not even given it out to any publisher to be published, because I was pretty sure that I won't be, nobody would really like it, and who will care for a, I was an IT professional at that time. I had actually, I didn't know whether anybody would actually accept me as an author and all that. So, but still, I went ahead and I just published it because I had spent a lot of time in working on the story. So I published it, and I actually printed only 10 digital copies first time. I thought if 10 people buy the book, it is more than sufficient. I know I have arrived as an author, kind of. Well, that's a long time back, 4 years back. Now I sell 10 books in a day. But at that time, I used to think, okay, if 10 books sell, that's good enough. So that's the way my writing journey started.
Ma'am, that's great. You answered my one more question, that what was your inspiration for Vikram Rana? And that was your kid
And
watching
was,
CID.
yes, yes.
And ma'am, the second question stands here, that when did you first realize you want to be a writer? Is the same thing when your kid asked you. Am I right?
Yes, actually, I see. The thing is that when I was an IT professional, I used to work 14 hours a day. It was really impossible for me to even think of writing any books. But I was always a bookworm. Any moment I would get, I would love to read. In fact, even now, without a storybook in my hand, I cannot sleep. I won't be able to fall asleep unless I read at least a few pages of a book. So I was always interested in stories and storybooks, uh, but I never really thought that I will myself write any story one day. But sometimes I used to read a few stories and I used to think, oh, what have they written? I mean, this is like I can write better than this. So that was there somewhere in the back of the mind, probably. And then when I wrote the story, my son also gave me compliment. Then I thought, okay, let me try this. And by that time, after a year of sabbatical, I thought, no, I don't want to go back into that rat race anymore. Let me just since I found an alternative source of work, it's fine if it doesn't bring me any money, but it gives me a lot of satisfaction. So then I gradually started becoming a full-time writer.
Yes, ma'am, very great. And ma'am, what would you say is your interesting writing work?
I think I'm evolving with each and every story that I write. If I think about it, when I had started writing Vikram Rana Investigates, for example, that was my first. And if I look at my most recent work, I would say there's a lot of change and lot of improvement, because obviously I was not. So, for example, I haven't done a master's in English, so I have not had any formal training in creative writing. Whatever creative writing I did, it was just something that was just flowing from inside me. So I would say that, and the best way to improve your writing is always, of course, to write more and more. So that's advice I'll give to youngsters also like you. That if you're at any point of time, if you're interested in this career, you should write more. The more you write, the better you become. My only regret is that I started quite late in my life to start writing. I wish I had started a little earlier. Then I feel I would have it would have been even more better. Then because I have a lot of stories to really tell, but I feel sometimes that I may not have enough time to write them.
Yes, ma'am, I got your point. And I would like to tell you that I also have a bit of interest in writing, and I sometimes write a few things. I write a few things, but they are not that great.
No, 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 never think that they are not so great. Even I used to think, even I thought that, okay, who will read my book? As I told you, my
Yes,
story,
ma'am.
10 digital copies. That I thought is enough. Nobody else will buy any book. Now, 10 books in a day. So, 10
Yes, ma'am.
lifetime to 10 a day is a hell lot of a journey. And if I can do it, even you can do it, anybody can do it. If you have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
passion for writing, and if you are really willing to learn your craft well, you can do it.
Yes, ma'am. Got your point. And ma'am, how many books have you written till now, and which one is your favorite?
I've written 7 books. Out of that, I think you can 5 of them are Vikram Rana mysteries. That is, the protagonist is a detective called Vikram Rana, like a Hercule Poirot mystery, or Sherlock Holmes. Not so great, but similar. Also, those are the 5 where the protagonist is known and tried and tested Vikram Rana. The other 2 stories is, one is a story of short is a collection of short stories, and it's a bit more of a literary writing, where I try my hand in literary work, where it is more about general life and characteristics and all that, slow moving stories. And the other one is like is Murder in the Chaudhry Palace. That's again a thriller, but it doesn't have Vikram Rana, and the focus on that story is not see, Vikram Rana mysteries are like more of a puzzle, where it's a constant game with the reader to so that the reader doesn't understand who the murderer is, and my job is to see that they really don't get it. But in the case of Murder in the Chalri Palace, it is more about thrills. It has a lot of thrills. There is a murder, there is a mystery, it's a murder mystery, but the role of the detective is not that important in there. The
Yes,
murderer
ma'am.
is
Got it.
found out, but the role that you need a lot of intelligence to find out who the murderer is, that is not important there. It's more of lot of thrills there. I wanted to try a different genre. I'm not exactly a genre, different style of writing in that way.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, who is your favorite author?
My favorite author will be lots of them are there, but yes, if it comes to the comic series, it's P.G. Woodhouse. If it comes to murder mystery genre, it will be Agatha Christie, our very own Satyajit Ray, Bomkesh Bokshi. I love really reading detective fiction myself. That's one of the other reasons why I tried my hand in writing
Yes, ma'am.
detective
That
stories.
reflects in your books.
Yes, definitely. I've read loads and loads and loads and loads, uncountable number of murder mysteries. Yes.
And ma'am, what does your family, friends, and everyone else in the society think about your writing?
My family is totally bored with my writing. They don't care about my writing. Friends, see, the thing is that the one thing I would like to tell you is that if you are an author, never mention that you about your writing to your friends. They get bored very easily. So it's better not to talk about your writing to your friends. Just be friends with them. Otherwise, if you constantly talk about your writing to your friends, you'll lose them.
Ma'am, I sometimes think that we should talk with our parents about that. They always support us for that. I myself have found about the same.
Yeah. My mother, actually, if I look at it, my father, my mother, my son, my husband, they all encourage me. It's not that they don't encourage me. My son would be the first person to read. In fact, he before I release any book, he has to proofread it. He doesn't allow me to publish a book unless he has proofread it. So yes, he is my strongest critic, and my mother is my beta reader. So yes, I rely very much on them. But they don't want to know you as a writer, a person. They really want to know you as a mother or as a daughter or as a wife. You should leave your
Yes, ma'am.
home. It's like your office and your and your home. Home life is home life, and office life is office life. Same thing applies to while you write a book also. I strongly believe that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, at last, I just want to ask you that what is your message for nowadays generation who are sleeping with phone in their hands instead of, like you told, a storybook in your hand?
Yeah, actually, that's not true. You know what? I think that's a myth. I have seen many youngsters who read a lot. Yes, there are many youngsters who are reading a lot nowadays. Otherwise, all the libraries, all the publishing houses, they would have folded up long ago. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The other yes, but I'm not saying that they don't watch Netflix, Amazon, and all that. Those are good, but the difference between watching a movie and reading a book is that watching a movie will not make you think, will not make you visualize, will not cultivate your imagination. If you
Ma'am,
want
because
your
the imagination is in front of you.
yeah, exactly. Everything is being shown to you. So you don't need to imagine anything. But reading creates empathy in you. It creates imagination. It builds your vocabulary. So if you're a GRE or a GMAT aspirant, definitely you should read a lot. So yes, reading is important. But in case of the Indian audience, I feel strongly that they like a lot of mythological stories, and they also like self help books. The thing is that they feel what is it that I can gain from the book. So from my books, definitely you don't gain anything much other than a little bit of entertainment. So that's about it. But I think one should always read books if they want to cultivate their vocabulary and their imagination.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us and everyone else. It was an amazing conversation. At last, I would just thank you, ma'am, for joining, and special thanks to Rahul Suri for organizing this evening and connecting people through the Russell of Book Club. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thank
Thanks,
you, ma'am.
Rahul. Thank you, Chidwan, and thank you, Russell Book Club, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.